Good evening. I'm Terry Yoffe, and welcome to Coach World TV. As my guest tonight, I have Kelly Campbell. Hi, Kelly.
Terry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very well.
Good. Kelly is the president and creative director of Liquisite Designs, which is a brand marketing company, and they specialize in website design, site optimization, and social media. And from what she's told me, she has won a number of awards. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about Liquisite Designs.
Liquisite Designs is, as you said, a brand marketing firm. We're based in Nyack, New York, and we also have a development office in Rhode Island, and that's where primarily all of our programming, the real techie stuff is done.
Okay.
In Nyack is where the design and the headquarters are. And we have between 25 and 30 employees altogether between both offices. So what we do essentially is brand small businesses all the way up to national and international corporations. Branding, custom website design, social media integration, search engine optimization, anything that is on the web or in print is what basically we do.
Very exciting.
It
So,
is.
you are very young, and I know that you started your company in 2003.
Yeah.
What made you segue from, I assume, I don't know, working for a company to starting your own company and obviously being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, yes, I did work in corporate America, and the long and short of it is actually that corporate America and I really didn't get along.
That happens with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Well, we were kind of like oil and water, you know, and I just saw, very shortly, a lot of inefficiency, and I really felt like even being in corporate America for only a couple of years, I felt like I could do this, I could really do this and I could do it well, and I could do it more efficiently than it was being done in the company that I was working for. Hopefully, they're not watching, but but and so I just started building the business up little by little. I was a, sole proprietor for a couple of years, actually a year only, and then I incorporated the business and really just started growing, and that was almost 8 years ago.
Great.
Yeah.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur myself in having two businesses, I know how exciting it is to, kind of do your own thing.
Yeah.
So over the last almost 8 years to be,
Right.
you must have had a vision when you started the company. And I'm wondering if that vision has been realized today.
That's actually a really, really pertinent question for right now, because the vision that I had for Liquisite probably wasn't the same as it was when I originally started it in 2003. I think I had very large, ambitious goals, and not having any business course training, really just training in graphic design and website design. They don't teach you how to run a business or how to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
You
kind of learn it. You grow as you go along.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. So, it's kind of trial and error and figuring things out along the way. And so the objectives kind of changed every single year. And I would say now we just acquired some office space in Nyack, and I've got this beautiful office now, and we've got so many people working in that location, whereas the location in Rhode Island had been, where most of the work was done. And now we have a senior account director, Rick Feldman. We have a couple of website designers, myself, another creative director. And so, I'm starting to see the company take shape, and that's exciting. That's really exciting.
I can only imagine what that feels like.
Yeah.
I think when we start a company as an entrepreneur, we might not even think 8 years out. We think, okay, if I can only get through the first year or the first 6 months, great. And then, okay, I did this, and then, okay, next year I might want to expand to here. But, then you come up to 8 years and you say, wow, how did I get this far, or how did it kind of blossom and grow into what it is today.
Right, right. And I think, you know, I don't know, first or second day that I walked into the new office space and it's, you know, 1,700 square feet, and it
Wow.
was like a little overwhelming. It was like, wow, I'm kind of where I thought I was going to be. And now I'm here, and now what do I do with that?
Uh-huh.
You know, so that was even a sort of an acclamation for me. But I've grown into it.
A nice dilemma to be
Yeah.
in, I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's room to grow further, and that's exciting in itself. So, you know, the more that we get out there and the more innovative we are as a company, we're doing a lot now with viral messaging, which takes into consideration 2D data matrix barcoding and QR codes, which if anyone reads the New York Times, which I'm sure all of you do, you know, the Macy's ads and these larger ads,
Yes.
you'll start to see these funny little barcodes.
Right.
And that's what we're getting into now,
Really?
specifically for point of purchase. So
Interesting.
it's really interesting. The technology is unbelievable with, you know, SMS messaging and texting and just, you know, really creating a community around the brand. It's what we were talking about a little bit
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
It's so important to engage with your audience, you know, with your prospective customers, your clients, and creating that interaction is where it's all at right now. It's not just enough to have, you know, a Facebook fan page or a Twitter account. You really have to engage with the
Yeah.
audience, and that's where a lot of people see the value.
Very interesting. I was going to ask you something. So now that you're here, a lot of people might not know a lot about, you know, search engine optimization,
Right.
social media, and you know all these terms. But what I was going to say was, it feels like, and you can tell me, that you did one thing when you got started, and now because of the changing in the landscape of the business world, you've kind of maneuvered
Yeah.
into another dimension.
Yeah.
And as entrepreneurs, I think it's important for us to be adaptable and creative.
Right.
That, you know, if we're going along and we know one way, and all of a sudden the industry is moving in another direction, we can't keep going that way.
Yeah, you
We
gotta
have to move.
right.
And I give you a lot of credit, you know, to having seen that, okay, now I'm moving into something different.
Right.
Was this something you already knew, or did you feel that it was something that you had to learn as you went along?
It's, you know, just the nature of the industry.
Yeah.
Website development, anything that's online right now, anything that's mobile marketing or online marketing, you have to bend and twist and curve along with
Yeah.
what's being, you know, developed out there. And, you know, could I have foreseen iPhone apps 7 years ago? Absolutely
No,
not.
no, I don't think, or
You know?
iPads or any of
Right,
that,
right.
those applications.
But now that those things are here, you know, it's really up to us as the developers and as the online marketers and the brand marketing firms to really utilize that technology so that, you know, you've got really effective, measurable results for the businesses that we serve, you know. I think it's really interesting just how everything changes and flows. And I think that, you know, something that's very interesting to me in particular is the fact that as a small business or as a medium-sized business, you have that adaptability that a corporation might not necessarily have. So when something new comes in, you can bend and twist to
Exactly.
meet that.
Yes.
And that's what's really fun
Yeah,
about having your own company.
Exactly. That is the advantage. I
Yeah.
mean, certainly what you said, talking about a large company, it would take maybe 100 people.
And boards and
Right, and approvals and everything
Right.
to get one thing done. Whereas when you're in your own business, an entrepreneur, that you can turn on a dime.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, we're going to make this change, and you know we're going to do it now,
Right.
as opposed to waiting months and a year before everyone goes along with the idea.
Right. One meeting and we were like, okay, viral messaging is it. Let's go. You know. So it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Actually, just to give you a little, tell the audience a little bit, Kelly and
Yeah,
I
sure.
met several years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it
4
was.
or 5.
It was
I don't
that
know.
long
I don't
ago?
know.
Oh my
I guess
God.
so.
It seems like 2 years, but I can take your word. It was longer. I know that. That I actually am the chair of a mentoring program for Ani, Advertising Women of New York. And that particular year, Kelly was my mentee.
I was.
And we had a very exciting year together. And you were just really developing a lot of interesting and new things. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think in working with you, I mean, I didn't even know what executive coaching was. I didn't know, all I knew was Ani had this mentoring program, and I was smart enough to know that I didn't know everything. So, you know, luckily they paired me with you, and what was interesting was it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. You know, I didn't know if it was going to be something where we sit down and, you know, kind of analyze the business and it was more business focused. What I found and the great value that I took from it was you helped me figure out something that I didn't think anyone could, and that was how to get out of my own way.
Yes, that's a common denominator for a lot of people that come to coaching. It's helping people get out of their own way.
Right. Right. And realizing the value that you present, you know, that you are an expert in your field. And it doesn't matter how old or young you are. If you're really good at what you do, you're winning awards, you're helping businesses succeed, or whatever it is that you do, you are an expert in your field. And you should be paid a fair rate for that, and there should be value associated with that. And it can't just come from you, it's other people that are seeing that.
Right.
And that was something that, you know, I think was holding me back, quite frankly, and definitely, you know, thank you very much for all the work, all the breakfasts and dinners and, you know, work that we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So is there, in where you were with your company at that point, how did the work together catapult you, if that's the correct word, into moving forward, into shifting a dynamic for you? I know you also, at that point, were starting another company, and we're doing interviews on radio, which I think was a little scary for you at that time.
It was.
So there was a lot of things that were going on.
Right.
So
I didn't really know where to place all these things. You know, I started this other company and sold it 2 years later, and thankfully sold it, because now I realize that, you know, my efforts really needed to be focused. If I'm going to be really good at what I do, I need to focus. And instead of being pulled in 2 different directions or trying to clone myself, you know, I really needed to refocus on this. But what was interesting about the radio show that you're mentioning is I always had another person doing the interviews, because I didn't think that I was able to do it. I didn't know, you know, if I could. And it was, I'm confident in some areas, especially professionally, but it just wasn't something that I just ever envisioned that I could do. And so I jumped into it after the other host left, and I did one show, and it was like, wow, I kind of like this. You know, and we're going to be coming up on our 100th episode.
Wow. Very
in
cool.
a couple of weeks, and I love it. I really love it, and I'm very comfortable with it now. So that's been a great experience.
And I actually was interviewed by Kelly on her radio show, and it was very different than being in front of a camera. You know, you pick up a phone, you do it on. It's
you can be in your pajamas.
You can be in your pajamas. Here you can't be. So you're coming up to your 100th episode. Are you doing anything special to celebrate?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I think the guest is Sharon Winters, who is was the original Catwoman in Batman, the original Batman. I don't know. I have no idea what the tie-in is, but I believe she is an alternative health practitioner, and the name of the show is Holistic Health and Wellness. So that's sort of the theme of it. And but no, other than that, you know, it's just it's something that I think goes along with Liquisite in a way.
Yeah.
Even though they're completely separate entities and owned by different companies,